If you are watching this channel for the first time, please we advise you click on the share button, click on the red subscribe button, and on the notification button, so that when we have a new episode coming out, directly it will be shared to you. You will have the link and be notified of this edition because they keep on coming and it will interest you, it will move you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, in today's episode on the Daily Positive Living Principle channel with Dr. Daniel Otto. Today is going to be another interesting topic on this channel, and I'd like you to follow me gently because we are going somewhere. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the reasons why people blame each other. Why is there an escalation of the blame game? Why are people blaming each other here and there, left, right, and center, from every area? In our individual life, in families, in relationships, in our organizations, people are blaming each other. In our institutions, both private and public institutions, more in the public institutions, people are blaming each other. In a leadership position, the blame game has been so much escalated. And then in the government positions, things are stagnant because of this blame game. And then in the party system, who now have become the rulers and the leaders in the government, are blaming each other for non-performance or things that have gone wrong. And we are on a standstill, and we need to know the reason. If you do not know the reason why a thing happened, it will be very difficult for you to treat them. And so reasons or investigations are very key to treatment. So we're going to be looking at the barrage of reasons why people blame each other. We need to know, and it will interest us, it will move us to another level. Recall from our previous discussion that the origin of the blame game started with the first man that was created, who was Adam. And that was how he crippled in. Adam, he ate the forbidden fruit and he exonerated himself from the blame. And that was how it crippled. He blamed God and blamed the woman, and it crippled into humanity. It became like a generational pattern. It became like a blood issue, entered into the blood. And so people now begin to blame each other. So it's very important. So the human nature now has become endowed with the blame game. The human nature is thus become a nature of fault finding. It has become a nature of shifting blames, up to the point that it even becomes a reflex action. So that before you even know it, before a person thinks, he has started blaming another. So he acts like a subconscious action that comes without the person knowing. That is the way the blame game is going. And this is why we need to talk about it. So for any negative occurrence, it has become like a reflex action that comes on its own without the person even knowing. He started blaming another person. This is the nature of the human being because of this transfer, generational transfer in our bloodline. And so we need to be conscious of this so that we can deal with it. Why do people blame each other? Note that it is easier for people to blame one another or to blame another person than to accept responsibility. Remember, responsibility comes with a lot of tax. It comes with a lot of burden. It comes with a lot of fatigue. It weighs one down because anybody that is responsible needs to carry a load. So many people find it easier to explain themselves, explain the situation, shift the blame or exonerate themselves rather than facing the demands of responsibility, because responsibility is heavy. Responsibility has a lot of demand. So a way of shifting responsibility, they blame one another because they don't want to take responsibility. That is one thing we need to know. Anybody that is involved in blame game so much, know that he's afraid of taking responsibility. Why do people blame each other? One of the reasons is that there is this phobia of fear that taking responsibility or accepting responsibility for any negative occurrence or for a fault or errors or mistakes that have been created could be detrimental to their career or to their destiny. So in order not to face that kind of situation, in order not to face any negative condition, they feel that they need to shift the blame. It will be better than accepting that responsibility. And so people blame each other for that. Some people also feel that they cannot withstand the outcome or the situation if the truth is revealed about the cause of the problem. If they are known to be the cause of the problem, they cannot stand the situation. They cannot stand the truth when the truth is revealed. And so they begin to put up a lot of blame. Some will even go to the extent of even harming themselves because they don't want the truth to be known. People cover up and bring up lies, become hypocrites in the process. So why? They shift that blame because how will they feel if the truth is exposed? How far can they stand it? They cannot withstand it. And so how bad they are going to feel, they have thought about it. And so what they resort into is to do what? Is to shift a huge blame on others and exonerate themselves from the process. So this is how this is. People feel that if they know, they will become a negative mentor. People look at them as a negative person. They will now know that this person is a pretender. They don't want to face that kind of reality. And so some people will now enter into this situation of blaming one another for this thing. And this is very, very key. I have an experience of that from one of a person who was so nice to people, but then he later on killed himself because of what? He doesn't want to know what he was facing. He doesn't want to know that people want to know the situation or what he was doing. He cannot stand the situation if the truth was revealed. This guy was having both HIV and hepatitis. He was taking drugs secretly. His lifestyle was so bad, immoral lifestyle he was living, and he was covering it up. And so he caught HIV and hepatitis. He was taking drugs, a barrage of drugs, huge drugs, so many drugs together, but people did not know. The day before he even died, he was in the church and he was eager. He wanted to talk to people. There's something in him. I saw this guy, he wanted to talk while we were in the workers' meeting. But what happened? The next day, this guy went and drank poison. He wanted to even hang himself. And then later on, in the process of hanging and the things he drank and poison that he drank, he died. We were even thinking it was the hired assassin that killed him. Thank God for the CCTV that revealed the whole process. In the process where he wanted to hang himself, the things he was taking, all were shown in the CCTV. And that was how we got to know. Then from the investigation from the lady that he wanted to marry, we now knew when things were brought out, we saw a huge drug that he was taking on a daily basis. Why? Because he cannot stand the situation if the truth about his life, his immoral life, and what he was suffering will be revealed. And so people blame or cover up or do so many things in life because of this issue. And we need to talk about them because you need to know why people do that, which is very important. Some people, they blame, they engage in the blame game because they don't want to be caught with the wrath of law. If the law, if they are revealed, if they are known as the cause of the problem, how will they face the wrath of the law? So they don't want to be exposed. They don't want that exposure to be there. And so they shift blame in every area. So this is why we need to talk about them. What are other reasons? Resistant to change. Some people are so resistant to change. Remember, change is the dynamic, is the most constant thing in our environment. Change is so dynamic. Every day people must change. People are growing. Even Coca-Cola bottles are changing. We used to have smaller bottles before. Now we can even have up to how many liters of Coca-Cola. If Coca-Cola bottles are changing, we too. All of our bodies are growing. So we are in the process of growth. So change is very important. But some people, because of the fear of the unknown, because of fear of tomorrow, what they don't know, if the change will come, so they are resistant to change. Even in our electoral system, in our government situations, when they want to make things right, when they want to change constitution so that others can benefit, so that it can be fair and free to everybody. When they want to change electoral system, some people will resist it. Why? Because they are already programmed to rigging. How will their situation be if this thing is done well? It means they are going to lose out in the election. And for that reason, they blame game. They bring a lot of reasons, a lot of issues, so that that process will not be done fairly. These are reasons why people engage in blame game, bring up reasons that will frustrate the cause of the truth, that will frustrate the course of action, that will be beneficial to our generations that are yet unborn, that will create impact in the life of people. These are the things we are talking about. What of greed and selfishness? These are reasons. Some people, because of greed and selfishness, me, I, and myself, everything is about me, I, and myself. They are concentrated on themselves. They can take a whole thing that belongs to a generation just for themselves alone, because they are in the position. Greed. And so they will bring up every reason to blame other persons just because of greed and selfishness. What are other things that make people blame each other? Many people, they are not good at figuring the root cause of why people misbehave. Look, it's better to know, it's good to know the reason behind some people's behavior. If not, you'll be blaming them unnecessarily. It is before you blame somebody, you need to know the reasons. So many people have reasons why they do some things. So it will be better if you can go to the root cause of why people do some things. Then you can now know the reason. So it will reduce the blame game drastically if you know why people blame themselves. This is very, very important. Many people do some things based on what is affecting them. So it's better to go to the root and now know the reason why this person is behaving like this is very, very key. And this is the point we are talking about. Some people use the blame game as a tool of attack. Let me give you this story just quickly before I explain this aspect. One day, a group of doctors, after an exercise session, they were gathered together along the road and in a garden, and they were having a group discussion. And suddenly, while they were discussing, a man that was limping was coming towards their direction. And while the man was limping, guess what? They started discussing. They were now giving a differential diagnosis of why the man was limping. Some people say that it is as a result of plantar fasciitis arthritis. Others say it's trauma to the knee. Or people say that is a lower motor neuron lesion. So other people say that maybe he had a hemiplegic attack. Or maybe as a result of stroke. That's why the man was walking like that. And so all manner of diagnoses were flowing among the doctors. When the sixth or the fifth doctor want to also give his reason or his diagnosis, the man came close to them and started asking them questions. Please, can I have a cobbler here that could have my slippers repaired for me? My slippers got caught on the road, and that is why I'm looking for a cobbler. What does that mean to us? Once you don't know the reason why a person is behaving, it will be very difficult for you to conclude. You know, while they were concluding on diseases and all that, the man just had slippers that were just caught was the problem. Can you imagine? Why do others blame themselves? People use blame game as a tool of attack. Some people use it as a hot business. They use it to hurt others. They shift the blame so that they can spread their tentacles just for selfish reasons. They will use it to attack people using that blame game, blame others. But they heap a lot of blames on people, and in that kind of situation, they exempt themselves and spread their tentacles because of their selfish ideas. So it is used also as a tool of attack. There is also what we call the destructive conflict resolution. In conflict resolution, it's either constructive or destructive. Constructive is when you resolve conflict to the benefit of many others. But in destructive conflict resolution, people reject other people's ideas. People use threat, coercion, and intimidation to heap blames on people so they can use it to destroy people and for their selfish reasons. So there'll be a lot of disagreements, and they can mock or ridicule others. They ridicule others so that they now blame everybody and exonerate themselves for their selfish reasons. This is so they dismiss people's ideas. And so in destructive conflict resolution, they use blame game to achieve their aim. This is what we are talking about. And these are key issues that have led to many of the reasons why people blame themselves. As I begin to round up on this session, let me give you a story. A man wrote a book in the United States of America, and the book was titled, How to Change Your Wife in 30 Days. Ladies and gentlemen, when this book went into the market, very interesting. In 1 month, this book, 50 million copies were sold. After this was sold, the author now discovered that there was a mistake in the title of the book. Instead of a wife, he meant that it was supposed to be life. And so he decided to withdraw the book from the market and then rewrite the topic, the topic of the book. And now when he rewrote it, it will now read, How to Change Your Life in 30 Days. So after withdrawing the first copies, numerous copies from the market, he now changed the topic and reintroduced the book into the market. So for fresh start. When he pushed this book into the market, ladies and gentlemen, guess what happened? For over 2 months, as this book went into the market, only 2 copies were sold in 2 months. As against the first copy, where 50 million were sold in 1 month. What does this tell us? People are interested in other people changing than they themselves changing their lives. People look at others and want to find fault in others, but they are not interested in looking into themselves. And this is a problem we are having with the blame game. It is only when we can take the log in our eyes, what is blocking us, then we can see properly. Then we can go ahead to take the speck in other people's eyes. This is what we are talking about, the blame game. I like you, ladies and gentlemen, to follow me gently on this channel because we are heading somewhere. I'd like you to share this to others. Please also make your comments so that we can feel how we can know how you are feeling about all this. I'd like you to share this, subscribe to it if you have not done before, and tell others about what we are enjoying on this channel. Please, thank you for listening to me, and then stay tuned for the